What if you could have a clean, fresh slate for your whole life? That you could get rid of the stuff that adds no value to your life and fill it up with all of the things that actually do reflect who you are and where you're going. That's what decluttering our lives is about. And if we want to level up, we have to be willing to let go. So today I'm going to share with you 5 things that you need to declutter that are going to free up your life so that you step into this summer season lighter, freer, and just a newer version of you. I want you to think about it as your summer life reset. Let's get into it. Welcome back to my channel, my friends, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Christy, and I make content centered around realizing that no matter where we are in life, no matter our age, we are just on time to live the life of our dreams. There are a lot of you who have found me through my decluttering series and helping you really to unpack the clutter that's in your physical lives, which I absolutely love. If you're one of those people, let me know in the comments below. Something that helped me to approach it that way and to think about clutter from that perspective was recognizing that real transformation comes when we start dealing with the life clutter. And what I mean by that is all of the things that we have in our lives that keep us stuck in the same cycle. But here's the thing. It's about to be summer and we are not carrying old baggage into new seasons, all right? Not over here. So let's go ahead and jump into the 5 things that you need to declutter this summer. First up, declutter your broke survival mindset. I'm not talking about your money. I'm talking about mentally being in a space of survival mode, because sometimes the biggest clutter that we carry is not in our closets, it's actually in our heads. And I think the best way to be able to share that is through a story of myself. So I had this big old bin of nail polish, like really good nail polish too, Essie and all sorts of name brand things, but it had like, I don't know, 50, 60, 100 bottles of nail polish in this bin. Mind you, I have not done my own nails for like 2 years. I get them done every other week. A lot of you know that we recently moved, and moving is always a great time for decluttering. And so when I'm looking at this nail polish bin, I'm thinking, why am I holding on to it? My husband was like, girl, why are you holding on to it? It is time to let this go. When I stopped and really thought about it, I recognized that it was because there was a season a few years ago where I did not have a regular nail tech because I was living in a different city than my husband. We were living in 2 different cities, and I was traveling back and forth, or he would be traveling back and forth. And so our time was just really busy. Also, I told the story before that at my late 20s, early 30s, I was like so broke. And so there's always this part of the back of my brain that is super frugal. And so being in this space where we were spending out so much money on this travel that we had to do back and forth, I was just always very aware of managing our budget. All of that to say that even though that season had ended a long time ago, there was part of me that was still stuck there. I was holding on to the stuff and to the mindset that went along with that. We cling to things many times with this undertone of fear and anxiety of, what if I need this one day? What if this comes in handy just in case? And that anxiety about letting go, that fear gets so deeply ingrained in us. It's so well embedded that even as the season has moved on, even as we've transitioned in our lives, we are still stuck in this habit of holding on. It is the same thing with old clothes that you don't wear, relationships that you've outgrown, and habits that you don't even like, but they feel safe. It is this old version of you desperately trying to hold on because new growth feels uncomfortable. If you're not careful, without even knowing it, you'll sabotage that next level that you're trying to get to because you're refusing to let go of something that was only meant to serve you in a previous season. This week, I want you to ask yourself this. What am I holding on to because it feels safe or familiar, but it doesn't fit who I'm becoming? It could be a physical thing like mine was, or it could be a belief like I'll never have enough, or good things don't happen for me. It also might be a behavior like always choosing what is convenient or always choosing what is the cheaper thing rather than what's actually right for you. Whatever it is, identify it and then decide today that you are done holding on to souvenirs from a season that you don't live in anymore. You cannot step into the new life that God is trying to give you while your hands are so full of the old one. Declutter your physical stuff. This is the summer edition of it. Because this video is about decluttering your whole life, we definitely want to deal with the physical clutter, which is one of the loudest reflections of what is happening internally. Summer is the perfect time to declutter. There's just something about this season that really makes you crave lightness and freshness and simplicity. And because that's what we're already craving, it's a good time to take inventory of what you're actually using and loving right now. Every new season deserves a version of you that really feels good in it. You don't want to be in a new season being weighed down by things you don't wear, things you don't use, or things that you secretly feel guilty about. I have talked about physical clutter so much, so you already know my feelings on that. And so to get to that place, here's what we're gonna do. I want you to go through your stuff. your drawers, your cabinets, your refrigerator, your pantry, and let go of the things that you have not used in the last 6 to 12 months. I feel like I need to put a disclaimer here because sometimes people ask about the sentimental things. I'm not talking about those. I am talking about like just stuff. Clothes that you don't like, don't wear, don't need, don't fit in, don't want, those types of things. The pantry items that are expired, spices that you have not used in the last year. Babe, you ain't gonna use it. If you ain't used it in the past like few months, you're probably not going to use it. Get rid of the things that you're keeping because you spent money on them, but you don't actually like them. You have no plan for how you're actually ever going to use it. Those things are just taking up space. And I don't want you to overthink it. If those things are not serving the woman that you are becoming this summer, let it go. You have my permission to do some deep cuts. Clutter doesn't just take up space on our shelves, it takes up mental space too. Mental space that we're not always actively aware of how it's impacting us. Every time you open up a drawer and see a whole bunch of stuff that you don't use, you're reminded of decisions that you haven't made yet. And all of those tiny moments of mental clutter add up. Physical clutter creates mental noise. When your space is messy, your mind is messy. But when your environment is clear, then your mind is also a lot clearer and lighter. And so this week, I want you to carve out some time to be able to do that. It does not have to be a whole day. Again, do not make this harder than it needs to be, but just start with one drawer, one bin, one type of clothing to just get rid of so that you can start clearing out your mental space as well. The lighter you feel in your physical space, the lighter it is that you're gonna move through life. If you're feeling like you're needing some help with this, I will leave the link down below to my 30-day decluttering program. It is full of easy and quick ways to be able to tackle the clutter without it taking up your whole life. Declutter your relationships. We have to talk about the relationship clutter. Just like your closet can get filled with things that don't fit anymore, your life can get filled with people and conversations and connections that don't fit where you're headed. And no, I'm not saying ghost everybody or cut off your entire family, but I am saying get really clear and identify what are those relationships that are quietly draining you. The ones that feel heavy every single time your phone rings or that person texts, or the ones where you leave that conversation feeling more drained and depleted than when you entered it. People carry energy. And if you're surrounded by people who are stuck in these cycles that you've grown from, or cycles that you're trying to break free from, or people who can only view you as your old self, not the person that you're becoming, it makes it so much harder to grow into that new version of yourself. You will find yourself shrinking or second guessing or downplaying your dreams in order to stay in familiar spaces, in order to make other people feel comfortable. I really believe that relationships should be mutually beneficial. Even in the mentor-mentee relationship, that mentee is not just draining everything from that mentor and not giving anything back. Both people should be leaving from those conversations feeling encouraged. Both people should be leaving from those conversations feeling like something was added to their lives, not just drained. Sometimes you have conversations that are more one-sided, and that's okay. But every single conversation and every relationship that you have should not be you just constantly pouring out and not getting your cup filled back into. That's just not the way it's supposed to be. So here's what I want you to ask yourself this week. Who in my life adds peace, energy, and encouragement, and who is actually draining it? Again, don't overcomplicate it. You don't have to make any big announcement. You don't have to burn any bridges. Sometimes it's really just about acknowledging it, being honest with yourself about what's actually happening, and adjusting your proximity to these people, not letting everybody have 100% access to you all the time. You don't have to answer every call. Maybe that means that you limit what you share with certain people. Maybe that also means not taking advice from people who are not living a life that you admire or have attributes that you admire. Protecting your peace is part of decluttering too, and you don't owe people unlimited access to you, especially when you're in a season where you're working to evolve. Declutter your habits. These are the sneaky little habits that clutter up our days and really only serve to keep us stuck. A lot of times, it's not the big dramatic things that are keeping us from our next level. It is the tiny things that we repeatedly either do or don't do that slowly just suck our time, our energy, and our momentum. It might be a habit like grabbing your phone first thing in the morning and wasting like 30 minutes just scrolling. It could be skipping a breakfast or skipping a meal because you're too busy, and then later in the day, you're wondering why you are drained and why you're cranky and nobody wants to be around you. Maybe it is saying something negative when you look at yourself in the mirror instead of finding something positive to say. It's saying that you will start tomorrow on your walk, on your business, on your prayer time, on your workout. And tomorrow turns into the next day turns into Monday, Monday turns into 3 years later, I still haven't done it. These habits seem small, but they are heavy. Every single time that you choose comfort over discipline, you reinforce this version of yourself that you're working to outgrow. We are always going to act in alignment with our identity, which is why it is really crucial and important that while we are working to level up and become this leveled up, reinvented version of ourselves, we do the things that align with that identity more than we do the things that align with the thing that we're working to overcome. So this week, what I want you to do is ask yourself, what tiny habits am I allowing that don't line up with the life I say I want? Start with one thing. What is the smallest thing that you can start doing to take action toward this new identity that you're becoming? Maybe you decide that you won't check your phone until after you've done something with your mind, your body, and your spirit in the morning. Maybe you decide on a meal plan so that you can cook your dinners and pack your lunches instead of ordering out for every single meal. Maybe you commit to catching every negative thing that you say about yourself and replacing it, consciously replacing it with something positive about yourself, finding something that you actually like. I've said it before, I say it a lot, and I'm going to keep saying it. Small changes actually lead to big results. It's the things that nobody's clapping for, nobody's watching you do, nobody's giving you a pat on the back, but you still show up and you do those things anyway. It is those things, those small things that you do on a consistent and routine basis that lead to those big changes. The quiet and behind the scenes moves are the ones that change your whole life. Declutter your time. Now this one, it's gonna sting a little bit, but know that it is coming from a place of love. Your dream life isn't hiding underneath some secret treasure trove that you just haven't found yet. It's buried underneath the things that you waste time on. Didn't I say it was gonna hurt? Yeah, I get it. Life gets busy. We have got responsibilities. We've got people pulling at us. We have things that we have to do. But what about the hours that you can control? What about the time that you spend on just autopilot, doing things that don't move your life forward? I'm talking about, again, mindless scrolling, watching shows that you don't even care about, saying yes to stuff that you don't have the capacity or even the desire for, but you are too scared to say no, filling your calendar with busy work so that you can feel productive, but not actually be effective. I told you, it might sting a little bit. So here's your challenge for the week. I want you to look at how you're spending your time and really zone in on those hours that you can control. And I want you to ask yourself, is this feeding the life that I say that I want? If it's not, it's probably time to clear it out. And again, I'm not saying don't enjoy life. If anybody likes a little bit of downtime and enjoyment, it's your girl. I love a little mindless scrolling and a Netflix binge, but I don't like it more than the thought of getting to the goals and the dreams that I have. And so really it's just about taking inventory of where you're spending your time and how and where to put what so that you can have time to do all of the things. Something that I do that I find works really well for me is saving my social media time for my walks. I go on my walks every single day. And so that's when I will just mindlessly scroll on social media because at least I'm killing two birds with one stone. I also have my Netflix binge on one day a week. So Sundays after church, we come home, we eat, and it's like nap time and we're just kind of done for the rest of the day on Sundays. So that's usually my Netflix and binge time because I'm like, I'm not about to do anything else for the rest of the day. I also like to make sure that I carve in time each day to do the thing that is on top of my normal schedule. So when I first started YouTube, I had to look at my schedule very consistently and see, okay, where do I make this happen? Where do I plug and play? Now it's a natural part of my schedule, but at first it was something that I had to really be strategic about putting in because it was on top of all of the other things that I had going on. These are the things that I do that bring harmony to my life and help me to balance this side of me that wants to be chill and needs that chill downtime, and this side of me that also likes to be highly productive. When you start treating your time like it's valuable, like it is currency for your future, everything starts to shift. And again, like I've said with all of these tips, it's not that you have to do it overnight. You just have to start showing up differently with the time that you already have. So those are the 5 things that you are going to declutter for your dream life this summer. And if you are feeling like, yes, I absolutely needed this, and you're ready to actually start making these shifts, I have something that I think you're going to love. At the end of June, I am hosting a 5-day Dream Life Jumpstart Challenge. For 5 days straight, we're going to spend 1 to 2 hours together, and I'm going to show you how to get your time and energy back, how to show up for yourself unapologetically, and really how to start building momentum toward your dream life even if you're overwhelmed, even if you're busy, even if you feel like you are starting from zero. I'm gonna walk you through it step by step. It is gonna be such a fun week, and I am so looking forward to you being able to say, wow, that was my turning point. If you have been feeling stuck or overwhelmed or really just needing someone to show you how to get started, this is it. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, make sure that you sign up for my mailing list. It is linked in the description below. I am sending out information and I want to make sure that you get all of the details. New seasons require new versions of us, and it starts by letting go. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If it spoke to you, I want you to let me know in the comments, what is one thing that you're decluttering this week? Also, if you're not subscribed, like, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that. Alrighty, my friends, I love you so much, and I will see you in my next. Mwah. Bye for now.